Imagine waking up each morning with a mind as calm as still water and a heart ready for whatever comes. You step into the day not rushing, not reacting, but moving with clarity and intention. But be honest, how often does that really happen? Most days, you probably open your eyes and immediately feel the weight of everything you haven't done yet, the emails waiting, the mistakes from yesterday, the uncertainties of tomorrow. The truth is, your morning isn't just the start of your day, it's the blueprint for your entire life. The ancient Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I am getting up to do the work of a human being today." We're going to walk through 15 morning habits inspired by Stoic philosophy, habits that will help you master your mind and take control of your day. If you value clarity, discipline, and inner peace, hit that subscribe button, because this is the path we walk together. 1. Wake before the world. Imagine this. The world is still asleep. The streets are quiet. No cars. No notifications. No demands on your attention. It's just you and the early morning air. There's a strange kind of freedom in these hours. You're not competing with anyone's voice, you're not reacting to anything yet. You're simply here. Awake. Present. But most of us never taste this silence. We cling to those last minutes in bed as if they're worth more than gold. The alarm rings. We groan. We hit snooze. And we tell ourselves, just 10 more minutes. And maybe you think you're buying rest. But what you're actually buying is chaos. Because by the time you finally get up, the day has already started without you. Emails are waiting. Messages are pinging. The noise of the world is rushing in, and you're already behind. The ancient Stoics understood the value of starting before the world. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled Rome while navigating wars, politics, and personal loss, wrote to himself, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I am getting up to do the work of a human being." He didn't say, "I get up because I feel like it." He got up because life was calling. And he answered. Waking before the world isn't about romanticizing the sunrise. It's about claiming the one time of day when your mind is untouched. When you still have the power to decide what kind of person you'll be today. Psychologists call this a priming period. In the first hour after waking, your brain is in a unique state. Your subconscious and conscious mind are still in quiet conversation. Ideas are easier to plant. Habits are easier to anchor. Clarity is easier to find. But here's the thing. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about waking up just a little earlier than you normally do, enough to give yourself space. 30 minutes. Maybe an hour. Time that's yours before the world gets a chance to take it. And what do you do with that time? Anything that strengthens you. Read a few pages of a book that challenges your thinking. Journal your thoughts before they get buried by the day. Stretch your body. Meditate. Or simply sit in silence and plan your day with intention. Because here's the truth, if you don't decide how your day begins, someone else will decide for you. Your phone. Your inbox. Your boss. The news. They'll all compete for your attention. And once you give it away, getting it back is almost impossible. The Stoics believed discipline was a form of freedom. By rising early, you free yourself from being dragged into the day unprepared. You choose how you enter it. Epictetus put it simply, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. If you want to be calm, wake up in calm. If you want to be disciplined, start the day with discipline. If you want to be intentional, make your first act of the day intentional. Yes, the bed will feel warm. Yes, your mind will whisper excuses. But remember, growth never comes from staying where it's comfortable. The first victory of your day is simply standing up when every part of you wants to stay down. And that victory sets the tone. Because if you can win the battle against the comfort of your bed, you can win the battles that come later, the hard conversations, the unexpected setbacks, the moments that test your patience and character. Wake before the world. Claim that quiet. Use it to prepare your mind, strengthen your body, and steady your emotions. When you do, you don't just start your day. You own it. 2. Drink water before anything else. The moment your eyes open, your mind starts searching for something to hold onto. And for most of us, that something is coffee. We stumble into the kitchen, still half asleep, reaching for that familiar mug like it's the only thing keeping us alive. But here's the truth: it's not coffee your body is craving first thing in the morning. It's water. Think about it. You've just gone 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without a single drop. Every cell in your body is running on yesterday's hydration. Your brain, made up of almost 75% water, is already working at a disadvantage. And yet, instead of replenishing what we've lost, we flood our system with caffeine. We spike our cortisol, we trick ourselves into feeling awake, while our body is still running on empty. The ancient Stoics didn't have espresso machines, but they understood the importance of meeting your body's needs before chasing comfort. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." If you want clarity, give your brain the hydration it requires. If you want balance, start with the substance that keeps you alive. Modern science backs this up. Even mild dehydration, just 1%, can impair your memory, focus, and mood. It's why some mornings feel foggy for hours. It's not your motivation that's broken. It's your body's chemistry. And there's more. When you drink water first thing, you're not just rehydrating, you're signaling to your mind that your health comes before your habits. You're breaking the automatic loop of stumbling toward the coffee pot and teaching yourself to pause, to choose consciously. The Stoics would call this an act of self-mastery. It's not about the water itself, it's about proving that you can control your impulses. That you can act with reason, not just reaction. And here's something most people don't realize: when you wake up, your body's natural cortisol levels are already at their peak. This is your built-in wake-up hormone. But the moment you drown it in caffeine, you disrupt its natural rhythm. You may feel awake at first, but the crash comes faster and hits harder. Water, on the other hand, works with your body's rhythm. It helps your organs activate, your blood circulate, and your mind sharpen without the roller coaster. So here's the habit. Keep a glass or bottle of water right by your bed before you sleep. When your alarm goes off, before you check your phone, before you open your laptop, before you even think about coffee, drink it. Slowly. Deliberately. Feel it waking you up from the inside out. Feel the fog lift, not with a jolt, but with a steady clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Drinking water first thing is an extension of that gratitude. It's telling your body, I honor this privilege by taking care of it. Because here's the bigger picture: mornings are a series of choices. Every small, intentional choice is a brick in the foundation of your day. And if the very first thing you do is choose health over habit, you set a tone you can carry into everything else. Don't underestimate it. You might think, it's just a glass of water, but it's also the first promise you keep to yourself. And promises kept, especially in the smallest things, create the discipline to handle the bigger ones. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for that comforting mug, reach for clarity instead. Pour it. Drink it. Own the first moment of your day. Because when you start with water, you're not just hydrating your body. You're hydrating your mind, your discipline, and your life. 3. Guard your first thoughts. The moment you wake up, your mind is like a blank canvas. The first strokes you put on it will set the tone for the rest of the day. But here's the problem. Most people don't pick up the brush themselves. They hand it over to their phone, to the news, to strangers on the internet. Before they've even taken a breath, they're already reacting to headlines, scrolling through other people's lives, or answering messages that can wait. And without realizing it, they've given away the most precious thing they have: the power to decide how they will think and feel today. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your phone is an outside event. So is the news. So are all the little digital pings that rush into your head the second you look at a screen. And here's what psychology tells us: your brain operates on what's called the primacy effect. The first information you receive anchors your thinking for hours afterward. If the first thing you see is chaos, your mind will keep scanning for chaos. If it's anger, you'll keep finding reasons to be angry. But if the first thing you feed it is clarity, gratitude, or focus, you anchor your day in strength. Guarding your first thoughts isn't about avoiding the world. It's about deciding what enters your mind before the world decides for you. This could mean taking the first 30 minutes to sit in silence, to breathe deeply, to journal, to read something that elevates your thinking instead of hijacking it. Epictetus said, "If a person gave away your body to some passerby, you'd be furious, yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along so they may abuse it, leave it disturbed and troubled. Have you no shame in that?" Think about that. You protect your possessions. You lock your doors. You keep your valuables safe. But what about the most valuable thing you have: your attention? Do you guard it as fiercely? Technology has made it easy to forget this. We treat our focus as if it's limitless, when in reality, it's the most limited resource we have. Once the first minutes of your morning are stolen by distraction, you can't get them back. This is why the Stoics practiced what we'd now call mental boundaries. They chose what to engage with and when. They trained themselves to respond, not to react. So here's the habit. When you wake up, before touching your phone, choose one intentional act for your mind. It could be writing 3 things you're grateful for, reading a single Stoic quote and reflecting on it, meditating for 5 minutes, or simply sitting by the window, watching the world wake up without rushing into it. You might think, 30 minutes won't change much, but here's the truth: those 30 minutes are the gate through which your entire day enters. If the gate is guarded, you control what comes through. If it's left open, anything good or bad can rush in and take over. Marcus Aurelius didn't have a smartphone, but he had an empire full of urgent demands. And yet, he began his days not by reacting to politics, but by grounding himself in his own mind. He understood that a leader who starts in chaos will spread chaos. And the same is true for you. Whether you're leading a team, a family, or just yourself, if you start from a place of clarity, you carry that clarity forward. So tomorrow morning, before you unlock your phone, unlock your mind. Fill it with something worthy. Protect it from noise. Choose your first thought and choose it well. Because once you do, you'll realize the truth the Stoics lived by: a guarded mind is a free mind. 4. Make your bed. It seems so small, so ordinary, so unimportant. Pulling the sheets tight, straightening the pillows, tucking in the blanket. And yet this tiny act can quietly transform your morning. Most people underestimate it. They think, why bother, I'm just going to mess it up again tonight. But that's the wrong question. The real question is, what does it mean to start your day with order instead of chaos? When you make your bed, you're not just tidying a room. You're sending a message to yourself: I care enough to begin with intention. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't waste the rest of your life worrying about what other people think of you. It keeps you from doing anything useful, and a messy environment is often the same. It keeps your mind occupied with clutter instead of focused on what matters." Psychology calls this the environment-behavior link. Your surroundings directly influence your mental state. A messy space creates subtle mental noise. Your brain senses unfinished business, and that background stress quietly drains your focus and willpower. Making your bed flips the script. It's a micro accomplishment before the day has even begun. Admiral William McRaven, a Navy SEAL who spent decades in high-stakes environments, said in his famous speech, "If you want to change the world, start by making your bed." Why? Because it builds momentum. And momentum is often the difference between a day that moves forward and a day that stalls. The act itself takes less than 2 minutes. But it sets a psychological precedent. I said I would do this, and I did that. Self-trust in action. And self-trust, once built, spills over into bigger challenges, keeping your word in relationships, pushing through difficult work, or staying calm when things go wrong. Epictetus put it plainly, small-minded people blame others, average people blame themselves, the wise see no blame, only action. Making your bed is exactly that: small, consistent action without drama or delay. There's also a symbolic layer here. In Stoic thought, your external order often reflects your internal order. If your surroundings are neglected, it may be a mirror of an unfocused mind. By creating physical order, you're reinforcing mental discipline. Carl Jung, the psychologist, believed that our environment acts as a projection of our inner world. When you clear the space around you, you clear space inside you. A made bed is a small island of control in a world of uncertainty. And here's the thing: you don't have to make it perfect. This isn't about crisp military corners or hotel-level presentation. It's about the ritual. About the decision to start your day by creating structure with your own hands. Some mornings, it will feel pointless. But on those mornings especially, it matters more. Because that's when you're telling yourself, even if today is chaotic, I will begin it with a win. And if you think one small win doesn't matter, consider this: motivation is rare, but momentum is built. Each small victory stacks into a larger sense of capability. Before you know it, you've gone from making your bed to making decisions that shape your entire life. So tomorrow morning, before you pour your coffee, before you check your phone, before you let the noise of the world in, pull the sheets, smooth the blanket, create order. Because the way you start often determines the way you finish. And when the day ends, no matter how messy it got, you'll return to a small, quiet space that reminds you you began with discipline, and you can end with peace. 5. Move your body. Some mornings, your mind wakes up before your body. You open your eyes, but your limbs feel heavy, your movements slow, your energy nowhere to be found. And on other mornings, it's the opposite: your body gets up, but your mind stays foggy, still lost in dreams or yesterday's worries. Either way, you're starting the day with a split between mind and body. And until you bring them into sync, you're running on low power. The fastest way to close that gap? Move. Not a full workout, not a 10K run, not punishing yourself with endless push-ups. Just movement: gentle, deliberate, intentional. The Stoics valued physical strength, not for vanity, but for vitality. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly," and that includes your energy, your focus, your discipline. When you move your body in the morning, you're telling it, "I'm here, I'm ready, let's go." You're activating your muscles, sending oxygen to your brain, and waking up your nervous system. Science is clear on this. A few minutes of light movement increases blood flow, boosts dopamine and serotonin, and primes your mind for focus and clarity. You don't need an hour. You don't need expensive equipment. You just need to start. Stretch for 5 minutes. Walk around the block. Do 10 squats. Hold a plank. Breathe deeply while moving your arms and legs. It's not about breaking a sweat, it's about breaking the stillness. And here's the deeper layer. Movement isn't just physical. It's symbolic. When you choose to move first thing in the morning, you're declaring, "I will not stay stuck." In Stoic thought, inertia is dangerous. It's the slow drift into complacency, the habit of letting the day happen to you instead of moving with purpose into it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to rise and meet his duties as the work of a human being. For him, this wasn't just about the mind, it was about preparing the body to act in alignment with virtue. There's also an emotional reset that comes with motion. Feeling anxious? Move. Feeling stuck? Move. Feeling unmotivated? Definitely move. Carl Jung believed that the body and psyche are in constant conversation. When you are tense, your body speaks that tension through stiffness and fatigue. But when you move, you give your psyche a new message that you are capable, alive, and ready to engage. And this momentum matters. Because the truth is, waiting to feel ready before moving is a trap. You move first, and the readiness follows. The Stoics would call this living in accordance with nature, understanding that we are designed for action, not for idleness. The human body was built to walk, to lift, to stretch, to work. And every morning you honor that design, you strengthen both body and mind. So tomorrow, before the emails, before the coffee, before the noise, move. Feel your heart rate rise just a little. Feel your breath deepen. Feel your mind sharpen. Because when you start the day in motion, you're not just moving your body through space, you're moving your life forward. And that's a habit worth keeping. 6. Embrace cold. There's a moment, right before you step into a cold shower, when every cell in your body screams no. Your mind races to bargain with you. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. I don't really need this. And in that moment, you meet your comfort zone face to face. The ancient Stoics sought these moments deliberately. They practiced voluntary discomfort, wearing rough clothes, fasting, sleeping on hard surfaces, not to punish themselves, but to train their minds for the discomforts life would inevitably bring. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, is this the condition I feared?" When you embrace cold in the morning, you're doing the same thing. You're proving to yourself, before the world has a chance to test you, that you can step willingly into challenge. Physically, the shock of cold water forces your body to adapt instantly. Your breathing deepens, your heart rate rises, your focus narrows to the present moment. There is no room for distraction, no space for overthinking. This is why cold exposure has been linked to increased alertness, improved circulation, and a surge of mood-boosting endorphins. It's not just about resilience, it's about priming your body and mind for sharp, decisive action. Psychologically, every time you choose to face the cold, you reinforce a simple truth: discomfort is temporary, but the strength it leaves behind lasts. Epictetus reminded his students, difficulties show a person's character, and cold water, as simple as it seems, is a difficulty you choose. It's a daily rehearsal for the bigger challenges you don't get to choose. You might start small, ending your warm shower with 20 seconds of cold. Then 30. Then a full minute. Each time, you teach your nervous system to stay calm under stress. Each time, you remind yourself that fear often dissolves the moment you step in. There's also a deeper, quieter benefit. In the modern world, we are surrounded by comfort-heated rooms, soft beds, instant food. And while these comforts make life easier, they also make us softer inside. The Stoics knew that overindulgence in comfort makes the soul fragile. When the smallest inconvenience comes, we break. But when you train yourself to accept discomfort, to welcome it even, you build a kind of inner armor. Not the armor that closes you off, but the kind that allows you to stand steady when others are swept away. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Cold is not the enemy. Your resistance to it is. So tomorrow morning, when you stand at the edge of that shower, and your mind begins its excuses, don't negotiate. Step in. Breathe deep. Feel the shock. And let it sharpen you. Because the first battle of the day isn't against the cold water, it's against the voice inside that tells you to stay comfortable. And every time you win that battle, you carry its strength with you into everything else you face. 7. Journal with purpose. There's a storm that lives inside your head. Thoughts swirling. Worries lingering. Ideas flashing in and out. Most people carry that storm with them all day, letting it cloud their focus, dampen their mood, and drain their energy. But the Stoics had a tool simple, quiet, powerful for calming the chaos before it takes over. They wrote. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations wasn't meant for us. It wasn't a book, it wasn't written for fame or followers. It was his private journal letters to himself, reminders to stay steady, reflections on where he had failed and where he wanted to do better. He used writing as a way to see himself clearly. Because when thoughts live only in your head, they grow distorted. But when you put them on paper, you give them shape, and you can decide what to do with them. Seneca advised, each day, before night falls, call yourself to account, but you don't have to wait for night. You can start in the morning, before the day has a chance to pull you off course. Psychology agrees. Studies show that journaling reduces anxiety, improves focus, and even strengthens the immune system. Writing forces the brain to process emotions, turn vague feelings into clear words, and separate facts from fears. This is why I call it mental hygiene. You brush your teeth every morning, why wouldn't you also clear the mental plaque that builds up overnight? Here's the thing, journaling with purpose doesn't mean writing a perfect page of wisdom. It doesn't mean you need a fancy notebook or poetic sentences. It means using the page to anchor yourself. You can write down 3 things you're grateful for. 1 fear you want to face today. The top 3 priorities for your day. A quote that inspires you and how it applies to your life. And you can be honest. Brutally honest. This isn't for anyone else to read. It's a conversation with the part of you that doesn't perform for the world. Sometimes, you'll uncover patterns, the same worry showing up every morning. Sometimes, you'll realize the thing that felt huge in your mind is actually small when written down. And sometimes, you'll catch yourself writing something so true, you didn't even know you believed it until you saw it. Carl Jung believed the unconscious mind is always trying to speak to us through dreams, slips of the tongue, and persistent emotions. Journaling is one of the fastest ways to give that hidden voice a space to speak. And here's a bonus: on days when you feel lost or stuck, you can look back. You'll see how much you've grown, how many problems you've solved, how many mornings you've shown up for yourself. In Stoic philosophy, self-awareness is the root of self-mastery. You can't control what you don't understand. And journaling is one of the most direct ways to understand yourself. So tomorrow morning, before you open your phone, open a page. Empty your head. Set your intentions. And give your day a clear starting point. Because the world will try to fill your mind with its noise and demands. But if you've already filled it with your own words, your own values, you'll be harder to shake. Write not to be read. Write to remember who you are. 8. Set 3 clear goals. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much but from not knowing what to do next. You wake up, maybe even feeling motivated, but as the hours pass, you bounce between tasks, respond to whatever pops up, and end the day tired yet strangely unsatisfied. That's not laziness. That's a lack of direction. The Stoics knew that a day without intention is a day surrendered to chance. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. In other words, decide where you're going, then take the steps to get there. Setting goals in the morning isn't about building a perfect plan for the next 10 years. It's about giving your day a compass, a clear direction that keeps you from drifting. And here's the key: don't overload yourself. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. Instead, pick 3 clear, actionable goals for today. Not 10. Not 20. 3. Psychology backs this up. The brain works best when focused on a small, defined set of tasks. Too many goals create decision fatigue, scattering your energy and leaving you half finished on everything. But 3 goals? That's achievable. That builds momentum. Think of it like this: a day without goals is like sailing without a map. You might feel busy adjusting sails, watching the horizon, but you're drifting wherever the wind takes you. A day with goals is like aiming for a specific port. You may face storms, you may need to adjust your course, but you know where you're headed. And goals don't have to be massive. In fact, smaller is better. Return that email you've been avoiding. Finish reading 1 chapter of a book. Take a 20-minute walk without your phone. The point isn't to impress anyone. The point is to finish what you set out to do. Because here's the thing: completion is addictive. Every time you finish a goal, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward and motivation. It's a signal: I can do what I said I would do, and that builds self-trust, the foundation of discipline. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he kept his focus on what was in front of him. He wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." For him, each day was a battle won through small, deliberate actions. Setting 3 clear goals isn't just about productivity. It's about shaping your identity. Each goal you achieve is proof you're someone who follows through. And when life inevitably throws interruptions your way, those 3 goals become anchors. Even if the day falls apart, you can still return to them. And if you finish them, no matter what else happens, you've moved forward. So tomorrow morning, before the noise starts, ask yourself, what 3 things, if done today, will make this day a success? Write them down. Keep them visible. And when your mind wanders, come back to them. Because without a target, your energy gets stolen by whatever is loudest. But with a target, your energy builds towards something that matters. 3 goals. Clear. Simple. Doable. That's all it takes to turn a busy day into a meaningful one. 9. Feed your mind before the world does. Your mind wakes up hungry. Not just for food, but for input, for ideas, images, words, something to shape the way it will think and feel today. The problem is, most people feed it junk. Before they've even had a sip of water, they've scrolled through social media, checked headlines dripping with outrage, or schemed gossip about people they barely know. And then they wonder why their mood feels scattered, why their focus keeps breaking, why the day feels heavier than it should. The Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they understood this principle perfectly. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you in our world." That doesn't just mean the people you meet face to face, it means the voices you let into your head, especially first thing in the morning. If the first words you hear are words of fear, drama, or distraction, you've already surrendered the tone of your day. But if the first words you hear are words of wisdom, reflection, or inspiration, you've given your mind a foundation it can build on. Psychologists call this priming. The first type of information you absorb affects the way you interpret everything afterward. Start with negativity, and your brain will keep looking for more of it. Start with clarity, and your brain will search for alignment instead. That's why one of the most powerful morning habits is to feed your mind deliberately before the world gets a chance to dump its noise into it. Read a few pages of a book that challenges you. It could be philosophy, a biography of someone you admire, or even a work of literature that stretches your perspective. Listen to a short podcast episode that teaches you something useful. Or watch a video that inspires action, not just entertainment. This doesn't have to take an hour. 10 minutes can be enough to shift your entire mindset. And here's where Stoicism shines. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings with reminders to himself, lines from philosophy that anchored him for the day ahead. He didn't wait for challenges to appear before deciding how to think. He decided first, then faced whatever came his way. Carl Jung put it another way: you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Choosing to feed your mind with substance in the morning is doing something. It's not passive, it's an intentional act that shapes your decisions, your emotions, and your resilience. Because here's the truth: you are being shaped every morning, whether you're aware of it or not. The question is, do you want to be shaped by algorithms designed to grab your attention, or by ideas designed to strengthen your mind? So tomorrow, before you check notifications, before you open the news, give your mind something worthy. Open a book instead of an app, press play on wisdom instead of noise. Choose mentors alive or dead who lift you higher instead of dragging you lower. Because once the day starts, the world will try to fill your head for you. But if you've already fed your mind well, you'll have the clarity to filter what matters and ignore what doesn't. Feed your mind before the world does. It's the difference between living by design and living by default. 10. Visualize your day. Before you live the day, see it. Not on a calendar. Not in a to-do list. But in your mind. Most people wake up and stumble straight into their day, reacting to whatever comes first: a text, an email, a sudden problem. And by noon, they've already forgotten what actually mattered. Visualization is the habit that changes this. It's not magic. It's not about pretending everything will be perfect. It's about rehearsing who you want to be and how you want to move through the world before life tests you. Athletes have used this for decades. Michael Phelps would mentally rehearse his swim over and over, imagining every stroke, every turn, even what he would do if his goggles filled with water. So when it happened in real life, and it did, he was ready. Because in his mind, he had already been there. The Stoics practiced their own version of this. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, they would imagine the challenges, the interruptions, even the losses they might face that day. Not to make themselves anxious, but to prepare their mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but none of them can harm me because I will not let them drag me into their chaos." This is visualization in action, seeing the obstacles ahead and deciding in advance how you will meet them. Psychology calls this mental rehearsal. When you visualize yourself performing an action, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways as if you were physically doing it. You're training your mind to respond with intention instead of impulse. Here's how to practice it in the morning: find a quiet spot. Close your eyes. And picture yourself moving through the day ahead. See the small details: the way you get out of bed, how you greet the first person you see, how you handle that meeting you're nervous about. Don't just see the perfect version. See the setbacks too. Someone cutting you off in traffic. A plan falling apart. A person saying something that stings. Then see yourself responding the way you want to. Calm. Steady. In control of yourself, even if you can't control the situation. This is the power of visualization. You're practicing resilience before you need it. You're making the unfamiliar familiar so it doesn't shake you when it arrives. Carl Jung once said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams; who looks inside, awakes." Visualization is looking inside, awakening the part of you that chooses how to live instead of drifting through the day on autopilot. You don't need to spend an hour on it. 5 minutes is enough. But make it vivid. Make it believable. Make it feel real. Because once you've seen yourself live with intention, it becomes much harder to act without it. So tomorrow morning, before you step into your day, step into it in your mind first. Train your eyes to see the path, and your mind to walk it with purpose. Visualize your day and then live it twice. Once in your mind, once in reality. 11. Practice gratitude. It's easy to forget how much you already have when your attention is always on what's missing. The human mind is wired for survival. It looks for threats, 4 problems to solve, 4 dangers to avoid. And while that wiring kept our ancestors alive, it often keeps us stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction. You wake up and think about what's wrong, the bills that need paying, the mistakes from yesterday, the goals you haven't reached yet. And in doing so, you overlook the simple, profound fact that you woke up at all. The Stoics saw gratitude not as a warm, fuzzy feeling, but as a discipline, a mental practice that grounded them in reality. Seneca said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." To him, gratitude was armor. When you choose to see what's already good, you become less shaken by what's not. Modern science agrees. Research shows that practicing gratitude daily increases dopamine and serotonin, the brain chemicals that lift mood and improve focus. It also lowers cortisol, reducing stress and anxiety. But here's the thing: gratitude isn't just saying thank you when life is easy. The real test is finding it when life is hard. When the project fails. When the person leaves. When the plan falls apart. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means looking honestly at your life and still being able to say, even in this, there is something worth appreciating. Marcus Aurelius practiced this in Meditations. In the midst of war, illness, and political betrayal, he wrote to himself about the blessings he still had: his teachers, his friends, the beauty of nature, the privilege of thought. He didn't wait for life to be perfect to be grateful. And you don't have to either. Here's how to make it a morning habit: when you wake up, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be small: the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, the fact that your body carried you into another day. Or they can be big: the health of someone you love, the chance to work on something meaningful, the wisdom you've earned through hardship. The key is sincerity. Don't write what you think you should be grateful for, write what you truly feel. And as you write, pause to feel it. Let the gratitude sink in for a moment. Because the point isn't to make a list, it's to shift your state of mind. Carl Jung believed that much of human suffering comes from disconnection from meaning, from self, from the present moment. Gratitude is a bridge back to all 3. When you train yourself to see what's good, you begin to realize that life is never completely empty. There is always something to work with, always something to learn from, always something to hold onto. And that realization changes how you move through the day. You complain less. You notice more. You become less reactive to small frustrations, because you're anchored in something deeper. So tomorrow morning, before you get lost in your to-do list, take 2 minutes. 3 things. Write them. Feel them. Because gratitude is not just an emotion. It's a choice. And when you choose it first, you carry it with you into everything else. Practice gratitude and you'll find that life gives you more to be grateful for. 12. Reflect on a Stoic quote. In a world full of noise, wisdom often gets drowned out. But the Stoics knew one line of truth, held in the mind like a compass, can guide you through an entire day. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Think about that. Your thoughts are not just background noise, they are paint on the canvas of your character. Most people wake up and let their first thoughts be painted by outside events: a news headline, a rude comment online, a memory of something that went wrong yesterday. And without realizing it, their mood and their actions take on that color. But if you start the day by reflecting on a Stoic quote, you choose the color yourself. The habit is simple: pick one line from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, or any thinker whose words hold weight for you. Read it slowly. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what does this really mean for me today? Don't just admire the words. Apply them. For example, Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You could read that and move on. Or you could pause and think, what situations might test my reaction today, and how can I prepare to respond with clarity instead of emotion? This kind of reflection turns a sentence into a shield. When the challenge comes, the words are already in your mind, ready to steady you. Psychology backs this up. Our brains are wired for priming. The ideas we focus on first influence the way we interpret everything afterward. If your first mental input is a principle of resilience, you'll see the day's problems as opportunities to practice it. And here's the deeper value reflecting on a Stoic quote: each morning isn't just about preparing for trouble. It's about shaping who you want to be. Seneca wrote, "We become brave by doing brave acts." Thinking is an act. If you think with courage, you're more likely to act with it. Carl Jung put it this way: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When you consciously choose a guiding thought, you bring part of your unconscious into the light. You give it direction. And it doesn't take long. 2 minutes is enough. But it has to be deliberate. Turn off distractions. Let the words breathe in your mind. You might even write the quote down in your journal, or keep it on your phone's lock screen. The goal is to make it visible, to keep it close, so when the day gets loud, you can return to it. Because here's the truth: life will test you. People will frustrate you. Plans will fall apart. But if you've started the day anchored in wisdom, you're harder to shake. So tomorrow morning, don't just scroll. Don't just react. Pick one line. Make it yours. Reflect on it, apply it, and let it set the color of your thoughts. Because if the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, then choose your color wisely. 13. Step outside. Before the emails. Before the meetings. Before the world pulls you into its noise, step outside. It sounds simple. But most people go days, sometimes weeks, without truly feeling the air on their face in the morning. They rush from bed to car, from car to desk, from desk to couch. And they wonder why life feels flat, why energy runs low, why their thoughts feel trapped. The Stoics understood the medicine of the natural world. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the dawn, about the sun rising whether we notice or not, about the sky's vastness reminding us how small our troubles are. Nature is a teacher. It shows you that seasons change, storms pass, and growth is a quiet, patient process. Modern science agrees. Studies show that spending even 20 minutes outside in natural light can reset your circadian rhythm, improve mood, and sharpen focus. Exposure to fresh air increases oxygen flow to the brain, boosting energy without caffeine. And here's the thing: stepping outside isn't just about sunlight. It's about perspective. When you're indoors, your world shrinks to the size of your screen, your walls, your own thoughts. But when you step outside, the horizon expands. You see there's more than your inbox. More than the argument from yesterday. More than the problem you've been turning over in your head. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Nature has a way of showing you reality, the tangible, immediate, grounding kind. The feel of the wind, the sound of leaves moving, the way sunlight shifts across the ground. Make it a ritual. Before you dive into the day, step outside for a few minutes. Leave your phone inside. Let your senses wake up one by one. Look at the details: the colors in the sky, the movement of clouds, the patterns of shadow and light. Listen to birds, to distant traffic, to the subtle hum of life continuing. Breathe deep and slow, as if you're letting go of stale air from yesterday. Carl Jung believed that contact with nature restores something primal in us, a connection to the world beyond human control, which humbles us and frees us at the same time. When you step outside, you also step outside yourself for a moment. Outside your worries, outside your ego, outside your endless mental to-do list. And the beauty is, you don't need a forest or a mountain. A balcony will do. A backyard. A patch of sky between buildings. It's not about the scenery, it's about the pause. Because if you can start your day connected to something bigger, the little frustrations that follow will feel smaller by comparison. So tomorrow morning, before you touch a screen, touch the earth. Feel the air. See the sky. Step outside not to escape life, but to step into it more fully. 14. Do one hard thing. Most people spend their mornings avoiding discomfort. They hit snooze. They skip the workout. They check messages instead of tackling the project that matters. And slowly, without realizing it, they train themselves to fear effort. The Stoics believed the opposite, that comfort is a trap, and that seeking it too much makes you weak. Seneca warned, soft living makes for soft men. Marcus Aurelius pushed himself daily to do what was necessary, not just what was pleasant. Doing one hard thing each morning isn't about punishment. It's about building strength, mental, physical, emotional. When you face difficulty on purpose, you train yourself to face the unexpected without flinching. Modern science calls this stress inoculation. When you expose yourself to manageable challenges, you build resilience. Your brain learns, I can do hard things and survive. That confidence spills into everything else. The hard thing can be different for everyone. For some, it's a cold shower. For others, it's a workout before dawn. It could be making a phone call you've been avoiding, starting a difficult piece of work, or sitting in meditation when your mind wants to run. The key is that it's uncomfortable but not impossible. Think of it like lifting weights. You don't start with the heaviest bar in the gym. You start with something you can lift with effort. Over time, that effort changes you. The Stoics also practiced this mentally. Epictetus advised his students to rehearse in their minds the difficulties of life: poverty, loss, insult, so that when they came, they were less of a shock. This mental hardening didn't make them cold, it made them unshakable. When you do your one hard thing in the morning, you're not just building grit. You're setting the tone for the rest of the day. You're telling yourself, I face challenge first, so nothing else will feel bigger than this. Imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you avoid the hard thing. You scroll your phone, linger in bed, and start your day already behind. Every small problem feels heavier. In the second, you face the hard thing right away. You lift the weight. You write the page. You make the call. And when the day throws problems at you, you think, I've already done harder. This isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. Even if the rest of the day falls apart, you've won a private victory before the world had a chance to interfere. Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. The hard thing is a mirror. It shows you what you're capable of, and where you still resist growth. So tomorrow morning, choose your hard thing. Make it small enough to finish, big enough to feel. Lean into it. Don't bargain with yourself. Don't wait for motivation, because it will come only after you begin. Do one hard thing, and you'll find the rest of the day becomes easier by comparison. 15. End with stillness. After the movement, after the planning, after the doing, pause. Stillness is not the absence of life. It's the space where life settles, where the dust of the mind clears and the water becomes calm enough to see to the bottom. Most people skip this step. They finish their morning rushing, spilling their energy into the day without ever grounding it. And then they wonder why they feel scattered, why focus slips through their fingers, why small problems feel bigger than they are. The Stoics saw stillness as essential. Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. But to reach that place, you must be willing to stop moving long enough to find it. In practical terms, ending your morning with stillness can be as simple as sitting quietly for 5 minutes. No phone. No tasks. No stimulation. You might close your eyes and pay attention to your breath, the way air enters and leaves, without you forcing it. Or you might simply sit and notice your surroundings, letting thoughts pass like clouds, without chasing them. This isn't just a spiritual exercise. Science shows that short periods of intentional stillness activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode, which lowers heart rate, reduces stress hormones, and primes the brain for deep focus. Think of it like sharpening a blade before using it. Stillness sharpens your awareness, so when you step into the chaos of the day, you cut through it instead of being dulled by it. Epictetus taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Stillness is the practice of that freedom, a moment where you consciously release the need to control everything, and rest in the simple fact that you are here, alive, and enough. For some, stillness will feel uncomfortable at first. The mind will itch to check something, to move, to fill the space with noise. That's when you know you need it most. Stillness shows you how restless you've become, and in showing you, gives you the chance to reclaim your calm. You can make this ritual your own. Sit by a window. Step into the garden. Light a candle. Or simply sit at your desk before turning it on. The form doesn't matter. The intention does. Because ending your morning with stillness isn't about doing nothing, it's about creating space for everything you've just done to settle. It's the pause between notes that makes the music. It's the white space in a painting that lets the colors breathe. And it's the quiet moment in your morning that lets the rest of the day have meaning. So tomorrow, before you leave your morning behind, give yourself the gift of 5 minutes. Be still. Let the world wait. And when you rise, you'll carry that stillness with you, a steady center in a spinning world. 15 habits. 15 small decisions. None of them require extraordinary talent, endless time, or perfect circumstances. Just a willingness to start before you feel ready, to choose discipline over comfort, to live with intention when the world lives on autopilot. Remember, the Stoics didn't seek to live easy lives. They sought to live worthy ones. And every morning, you are handed the same choice they had, to drift, or to direct yourself. Your mornings are not just a routine. They are a statement of who you are becoming. And if you master your mornings, you don't just change your day, you change your life. So tomorrow, don't try to do all 15. Pick one. Own it. And let it build momentum toward the next. The world will keep moving fast, but you don't have to be swept away. You can wake before the noise. You can guard your mind. You can live by design, not by default. And if this video sparks something in you, don't just let it fade when you click away. Act on it. Share it. And subscribe, because this is just the beginning. If you think mastering your morning is powerful, wait until you see how the Stoics mastered their emotions. In my next video, we'll break down the 10 Stoic principles that make you unstoppable no matter who tries to shake you.